Trump would sell this country for $1 if it meant lining his own pockets and greasing the palms of his Wall Street friends. And I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots of greed, trampling on our way of life. The truth is, Don, you cannot love this country if you only fight for the wealthy and big business.
Democrats are finally fighting back. Mark the date, February 3rd, 2025. Brian Schatz of Hawaii, U.S. Senator, just announced a big move. He is placing a blanket hold on all of Donald Trump's state nominees due to Donald Trump and Elon Musk's attempt to dismantle the U.S. Agency for International Aid, also known as USAID, which is an agency protected by federal law. Over the weekend, DOJ staffers brazenly forced their way into USAID headquarters in D.C., accessing classified information and shutting the building down to employees today. In response, Schatz isn't just raising concerns now, he's using his power to grind Trump's foreign policy machine to a halt. By the way, just a quick aside, if you could follow the Midas Touch podcast on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, anywhere you listen to audio podcasts, I would really appreciate it. I know you like hearing all of our updates there. Okay, so normally the Senate speeds up confirmations through a process called unanimous consent, but Schatz says the following, quote, "I will oppose unanimous consent. I will vote no. I will do maximal delays until this is resolved." What does that mean? Well, it means that Trump's nominees will face roadblocks, leaving key diplomatic posts without leadership and undermining the administration's ability to project its foreign policy priorities. While the Democrats, as the minority party, don't necessarily have the power to unilaterally block Trump's nominees, this is definitely a way to slow down the process and hurt Trump's ability to move forward with many of these picks. Adam Schiff, shortly after, stated that he would join Schatz in this effort, writing the following, quote, "Democrats must use every lever at our disposal to block Elon Musk's illegal takeover and shutdown of an essential government agency." Folks, this is what fighting back looks like.
Today, I voted. I didn't vote for a person. I voted for values and principles. I voted for sanity and reason. I voted for truth and the rule of law. I voted for tolerance and acceptance. I voted for dignity and respect. I voted for the Constitution and America. And I voted against some things. I voted against immorality and the lack of ethics. I voted against insanity and chaos. I voted against lies and disrespect for the law. I voted against intolerance and exclusion. I voted against humiliation and contempt. I voted against fascism and a police state. Today, I voted for love, not hate. If I had a message for you today, it would be to give hope a chance. We know what fear and rage look like. We've seen them before. Give hope a chance.
Who did you vote for today?
I voted for Donald Trump.
And why did you vote for Donald Trump?
I know that's jarring. I never thought I would vote for Donald Trump in my life. So actually, I'm from Houston, Texas, and in Texas usually goes Republican. And I am a hardcore Democrat, and I wanted Kamala to know that she lost a Democrat to Donald Trump because every time she interviews and she's asked about her policies, she usually says, well, I'm better than Trump. And I don't think that's a good answer. So I voted for Donald Trump.
So in essence, you did it to punish the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I did it to punish the Democratic Party.
And wouldn't you think that a lot of people say the better way to go is a third party if you wanted to vote with that strategy?
I didn't vote third party because Jill Stein is anti-vaccine and I'm not anti-vaccine. Therefore, she didn't align with some of my ideals and I voted for Trump.
And what difference will this make between the current government and Donald Trump?
So I think Donald Trump is just a change. I think they're both bad. And I think we're screwed either way. But I think I felt very betrayed by the Democrats and I could not vote for a Democrat this time. And so
My plan, honestly, was to vote for Trump and get out of America.
Hasn't Trump openly expressed hatred for Muslims and minorities?
He has, and his brother-in-law actually is a Zionist. Like Jared Kushner is a Zionist, and I knew that going into that. But the reason why I voted for Donald Trump, knowing that, is because both of them are Zionists, and both of them are going to help the Zionist agenda. At least with Trump, I know what we're getting. Kamala, on the other hand, she says that she's going to stop the war. She says she's going to give aid, and she's not. With Donald Trump, I know what's going to happen. I know who he is. He's a very straightforward person, and I respect that he's straightforward. Like I either way, we're voting for genocide.
Do you think all this even makes a difference?
You have to show up to the polls, and your voice has to count. And I do really believe in voting.
Why not just boycott the whole voting movement?
Well, I live in Texas, so I had to vote Ted Cruz out. For the record, I voted straight Democrat down the ballot except for president.
Do you have any predictions this election season?
I think Kamala's going to win. That's just what the polls are looking at. Makes me sad. I think Kamala is also going to win Michigan, which kind of makes me really angry. And I think a lot of Americans threw their vote away. But again, my plan was actually to vote and then move to Qatar. So
I'm not just voting for Trump. I am endorsing him and telling my community to vote for him as well.
In Dearborn, Michigan, which is the first city in the U.S. to have a majority Arab American population, some people are saying they will not support Kamala Harris in this election.
How can I tell the Dearborn pharmacist who lost 80 members of his family in one day to vote for the vice president?
Dearborn voters helped Joe Biden win in 2020, but now they're exploring other options.
I might just leave it blank.
Likely going to be the Green Party.
I will vote Harris, but I will not have the energy or the audacity knocking doors on my Muslim community and tell them to vote for Harris.
Without these voters, Kamala Harris might not win Michigan. Without Michigan, she may well not win.
If you were to ask Vice President Harris a question, what would it be?
I think I would ask her, how soon do you think we can get the Equality Act passed?
How about Donald Trump?
I would ask him, do you see me as a human?
Oh. I'm sorry.
In what way can you tell me that you're a Democrat without telling me that you hate Trump, you hate his policies, and you hate this administration?
I believe the Constitution is correct when it says all persons are entitled to due process. I don't think you can executive order your way around the 14th Amendment and deny someone their birthright citizenship. I respect the 8th Amendment and don't think that U.S. citizens convicted of crime should be sent to foreign prisons. I believe the Hatch Act should be respected. I don't think presidents are empowered to ignore federal courts' rulings. I know the definition of a mandate. I know what a tariff is. Maybe more importantly, I know what a tariff isn't. I defer any medical decisions I have to make to medical experts. I was on the beach eating tacos on January 6th. I know it's okay to criticize the politicians that I vote for. I don't worship politicians. I believe experts when they give opinions on their area of expertise. I believe women. I believe women have a right to choose. I know what the 24th Amendment is and how the SAVE Act would have violated that should it have passed the Senate. Thank you, Senate Democrats. I believe we should make it as easy as possible for as many people as possible to vote. And I believe a child's life is far more valuable than any piece of metal that you could strap to your hip.
Isn't it remarkable how for years Republicans were screaming conspiracy theories about Hunter Biden, saying that he took bribes from foreign countries and that the United States is compromised, and now we just learned today that Donald Trump accepted a Boeing 747 from Qatar for $400 million, a $400 million gift that he will use as Air Force One while he's president, and then when he leaves office, he will use that plane in his private capacity. I mean, is that not just the most blatant bribe you've ever seen in American politics, where an elected official is just being given this multi-million, $100 million plane just for fun? And Republicans are silent about it. They scream falsehoods about Hunter Biden for years, and now we see like actual gifts being given to elected officials from foreign countries, and there's no word. Nobody cares on the right. It's just a tremendous amount of hypocrisy and a really concerning development, the fact that, Trump is just getting this plane. I mean, like, what are we doing in American politics where people think that this is okay? It's disgraceful. It really is.